Hello friends, welcome to Kamath Astrology. Today's topic is a big conspiracy by India's neighbors to force India into a war. We will do a quick analysis as to why I am making this statement. In this video, we'll look at the astrological placements. Now, look at the chart on the screen. This is the chart on 6th September 2024 at 3:40 p.m. IST. I took the place as New Delhi. Now, two important transits have happened recently. On 26th August 2024, Mars, the planet of war, aggression, has entered into the sign of Gemini, which is the second house in India's Independence Day chart. So, in the Independence Day chart of India, the ascendant or the rising sign is the sign of Taurus or Vrishab. And you can see that Mars, who is the 12th lord, representing losses, expenses, foreigners, and also the 7th lord of partnerships, has gone into the second house of Gemini, which represents the Indian family, India's wealth. So, in short, you can see that this planet of war is deriving its energy from the 7th house of Scorpio and the 12th house of Aries. Now, Scorpio is a sign that represents secrets and conspiracies. 12th house represents foreign entities. And Mars has gone into the second house now. But this alone is not enough to justify a conspiracy. There is a second transit which has happened recently, and that is Venus has entered into the sign of Kanya or Virgo on 25th August 2024. And around 6th September, you can see that Venus, Ketu and Moon are in very close conjunction to each other in the sign of Kanya, the bottom right square on the left hand side chart. Now, what is Moon actually? Moon is the ruler of the third house in independent India's horoscope. Third house is the sign of Cancer, which represents our borders, our neighboring countries. Kanya or Virgo is a sign of conflict. India's ascendant is Venus. India's 6th house lord of conflicts is Venus, and it has gone into the sign of Virgo. Virgo is also a sign which deals with conflicts, legal issues, debates. And now, to add to the problem, we have Venus coming in close conjunction with Ketu and Moon here during this time frame. Now, the planet of war, Mars, puts his aspect, that is the fourth aspect, on the sign of Kanya or Virgo, which has Venus, Moon and Ketu present. Now, what is the indication of this? This indicates that there will be conflict on the borders of India, or India's neighboring countries can inflict some kind of war on India or proxy war on India through terrorists during this time period. So, Moon represents our neighboring countries, our borders. Venus is the ascendant, that is, it represents India itself. And it is also the 6th lord in India's chart. So, it is representing a conflict on the borders or something being forced on us by the neighboring countries. Now, let us understand where Mars is deriving its energy from. Mars is deriving its energy from the sign of Aries, which is obviously the 12th house in India's chart, which indicates foreign entities, and also from the 7th house, which indicates India's partners. So, who are India's partners now? US, UK, these are India's partners. And who are India's neighboring countries? You have Bangladesh, China, Pakistan, Myanmar. These are all our neighboring countries. So, this conflict is being strategized by certain Western countries, and it will be forced on India by using India's neighboring countries. So I see a conspiracy by Western countries to force India into a war with its neighboring countries, which means that these Western countries can supply arms and ammunitions to our neighboring countries. And those neighboring countries, in turn, can send refugees or terrorists who can infiltrate our borders and cause some terrorist activities or disruptions in India or create warlike situation in India. This can be civil riots, this can be in the form of an external war, or it can be through terrorist attacks. But definitely, this does show some kind of disturbance being planned by foreign Western entities on our beloved country India in this time period. I had told you that when the Saturn Sun opposition starts, there will be massive protests against the government by the common people. And you can see what is happening in West Bengal right now. In different states of India, there are different kinds of protests happening against the government, and there is a kind of civil war between the common people and the state governments or the central governments in this time period. So, definitely, there is a sense of chaos, there is a sense of insecurity in our country right now. If you see Saturn's aspect, it is falling on its enemy signs, that is the sign of Aries and Scorpio, which is ruled by Mars, as well as the sign of Leo, which is ruled by Sun. Both Mars and Saturn are enemies. Similarly, Saturn and Sun do not get along well. So it definitely shows troubles to the government in this time period. And when this Venus Ketu Moon conjunction receives the aspect of Mars from Gemini, it definitely points out to major conflicts coming from our neighboring countries towards India or on India's borders. Saturn represents the Western countries and its aspect is falling on the sign of Aries and Scorpio. Scorpio, as I told you, is indicating secrets, conspiracies. And the Lord of Scorpio and Aries is Mars, who is placed in Gemini, which means Mars is deriving its energy from the sign of Scorpio and Aries. And therefore, these foreign entities are trying to cause a major loss to India, just like what they have done in Bangladesh right now. The riots in Bangladesh, or rather the coup in Bangladesh, was orchestrated by certain Western countries. I am not naming them because there are certain restrictions here. However, you know who I am referring to very well. Now, let us look at certain other astrological things. Venus or Shukra becomes debilitated in the sign of Kanya. Why is it so? Because Venus is the planet of love. Venus is the planet which indicates luxury, wealth, comforts. And Kanya or Virgo is a sign which indicates disputes. Now, can love excel or rather thrive in an atmosphere of conflict and disturbance? That is why Venus gets debilitated in the sign of Kanya, though it belongs to its friend Mercury. On the other hand, Venus gets exalted in the sign of Pisces, which belongs to Jupiter or Brihaspati, who is actually the Dev Guru, while Venus is the Asur Guru. So in a way they are opponents. But even then Venus gets exalted in the sign of Pisces, because Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac, which indicates spirituality. And here Venus's love is true love. Venus does not desire anything. It is the sign of pure devotion. That is why Venus gets exalted in Pisces. Whereas Virgo or Kanya is an earthy sign. It indicates that the person has earthy attractions towards money, towards love in a sensual manner. So Venus here with Ketu and Moon gets trapped in a conflict zone. And when Venus gets trapped, it means India is also trapped, because Venus is India's ascendant lord as well as the lord of conflicts, by virtue of it being the ruler of the 6th house in India's chart. Now, This is the fifth house in India's chart. The Kanya or Virgo is the fifth house in India's chart. So it indicates investments, it indicates love, romance, and Venus is the Karka for love, comforts, luxury, and wealth. We know this. Now, when Venus comes with Ketu, senseless actions will be done against women. Venus also represents women, right? And Ketu represents headless actions. So, this is a time when atrocities against women increase. And that is why you are seeing many rape cases and other things happening right now. As soon as Venus was about to enter the sign of Kanya or Virgo. Now, Venus is not going to remain here for a long time. He will be there till around 18th September. But this conspiracy will take shape in a big way during this time period till 18th September itself. And definitely in future, we can expect a big Indo-Pak war or an Indo-Bangladesh war, which is sponsored by these Western entities. Now, what does Mars represent? Mars is the seventh lord, so it represents India's opponents. Mars is now in the sign of Gemini, which is the second house, which represents the Indian family itself, which means these opponents will be from India itself. There will be people within India, mostly politically affiliated, who will support these Western countries in doing such things and conspiring against India is what is very clearly seen from this astrological combination. And I can guarantee you that in the near future, within the next few months, an Indo-Pak war or an Indo-Bangladesh conflict is likely to happen on a big scale. Now, one good thing is that Jupiter's fifth aspect falls on the sign of Kanya, which means if people get the right kind of advice, government gets the right kind of advice, then these kind of conflicts will be happening on a very reduced scale or a small scale. So that is a positive sign, but overall if you see, the chances of conflict are very high. So friends, I will conclude this video here. I urge people to stay united and do not fall for religious disputes. Do not fall into any kind of protests or disharmony. Stay safe. Take care of your family. So the astrological combinations do show a big conspiracy being sponsored by certain Western countries against India by using its neighboring countries to foist war or civil war or terror-like situations in India. On our side, we need to be careful, we need to be alert, and we should not try to get into any unnecessary dispute. So friends, if you like this video, please mark it as liked on YouTube. If you have not subscribed to our channel, you can do so by clicking the subscribe button. For any queries, write to us at astrosevaworld@yahoo.com and we'll be glad to assist you. You can also visit our website astroseva.tripod.com. So friends, thanks a lot. Bye. Take care and stay safe.